It is Tuesday, September 4th. You have reached Jaguars Happy Hour. Happy Hour is pleased to have Johnny O and Jaguars great Josh Scobee. Now a guy who's secretly known as the Fifth Manning, J.P. Shadrick.
That doesn't make any sense, but I'll take it, I guess.
Yeah.
Welcome in. Jaguars Happy Hour on this Tuesday. J.P. Shadrick, Josh Scobee, yes, John Ozier coming up. Here we are. I never know what's coming out of Joe's mouth, Josh.
I had no idea where that came from. It felt like you were like the fourth or fifth wheel of the Manning family. I don't really get it.
Well, there's what? There's three brothers, right?
Yeah.
There's Cooper, Eli, and Peyton.
Correct.
Cooper's he was kind of lost in the shuffle.
He played football too.
Very briefly, not as long of not an NFL career, obviously.
But I can't see you being a part of that family for some reason. I mean, mainly because you went to Alabama. That's the only reason.
Well, mainly right.
Not anything to do with your athletic ability, but just the Alabama
Because
roots.
I can keep up. You haven't seen me throw a football yet.
Flag
Gosh.
football,
Yeah,
yes.
right.
That's about it.
Maybe so. Plenty to get to today. Let's get to our big three things today. A Week 1 preview, the Jags and the New York Football Giants coming up Sunday at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. We'll break down that game. Former Giants kicker Lawrence Tynes will join us over the phone. He was also with the Chiefs for a little bit early in his career, with the Bucs at the very end, and then Social Scobee. Yes, the social butterfly, Josh Scobee, will answer your social media questions today. I know you've been eagerly anticipating that segment each and every week.
Well, I anticipate it every day because I'm on social media every day. I love to interact with the fans and have fun with people and see how smart and dumb people can actually be. So hopefully we get a good question in before we actually get to that segment. I just sent another tweet out. So,
okay. We're getting response, real-time response.
Yeah, hopefully we get an actual good question other than the one that we just saw.
Well, you use it sometimes to show off your prowess on the golf course. We'll get to that coming up a little later today as well.
Show off my prowess. Yeah.
We don't want to show it right now. We'll get to that a little later. What happened today for you on the court? You had a busy day. It looked like
it was
another
day.
busy day.
Yeah, tough day. Front nine was tough.
I'll take that rough day. We start most shows here, all shows we've done, by looking at your shirt for the day from DTWD Originals.
DTWD Originals, another thank you from them. This one says Duval versus all y'all. So wow. I figured it's pretty fitting for this week. I mean, this is week 1. This is when it's Jacksonville, Duval, Jaguars versus everybody else. So I think the team is ready. My shirt is definitely ready. So it's time to roll.
The person wearing this shirt, are you ready?
I'm not ready because I haven't stretched out. I mean, I'll have to stretch out if I'm going to be physically ready. But mentally, emotionally, I'm ready.
So you have to stretch to watch a game?
Absolutely. Yeah, just in case. I mean,
what? In case
you have to run to the bathroom during a timeout.
Okay.
Run to the fridge, grab another beer.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you always have to be ready.
Yeah,
Milo taught me that. Strength coach. He taught me that.
I learned that in Cub Scouts. Be prepared.
I learned that like my 9th year in the NFL. So apparently you learned that a lot earlier than I did.
Be prepared all the time.
Absolutely.
But it's fun this week. It's interesting hearing the transition from training camp, when you hear guys talk about camp and, we're working on this week, or here's my checklist for the day as a player. And all of a sudden week 1 comes around, all that's gone. I mean, you've cut the team. There's 53 guys here, then the practice squad guys, and it's go time. And you're focused on the New York Giants, and that's it. All the prep in the offseason is done, and it's game week. That's a big difference for that focus for this week.
Yeah, it's a huge difference, and obviously they've been building up to this week for a long, long time. And what I love about this time of year is you get to build up all that frustration, the things you've been working on all off season is going towards this week. And if most guys have that same mentality, then they're going to have a really good game. And there's not too many guys that I've ever met in the NFL that don't love week 1.
That's what it's all about. I mean, you tee it up, and it's away we go, And a performance on opening day, like they had last year. They went into Houston and just kicked the crap out of the Texans in week 1, to be quite frank. And I don't know if we thought they could be that dominant that day. They had an idea. I don't even know if they really knew how dominant they could be. A 10-sack day and ran the ball like they did and just crush Houston. But that set a tone for the season. Yeah, they lost next week, but they had something visible that they knew they could look back to. This is what we want to be as a football team. And they did that the first day out of the gates of the season last year. That's important, I think, for this year to show that, hey, everybody's expecting this now. Let's go perform like we can.
Yeah, last year I think they surprised a lot of people, with the 10 sacks and the beating that they put on Houston. This year they're really not going to surprise too many people with how well they rushed the passer. But at the same time, I still think that D-line, that defense, and that team is going to expect to have that type of performance. And if you don't, then what are you doing it for?
No, that's true. Now, the questions we have, obviously, I think more are on the offensive side. What is this offense going to look like? Can they run the ball as effectively as they did early in the season last year? Can they do it for longer as the season goes on? Because it kind of waned off towards the end of the season, the effectiveness of the run game. What's going on at receiver? You got a new tight end. Blake got paid. He feels more comfortable, looks more comfortable. Does that equate to game situations? So what the defense, I think, can be and will be. A lot of questions on offense right now. You just got to go roll the ball out and see it in action, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this offense is going to need some time to develop and find out who the guys are really going to be the ones to step up, to make the plays, the ones that are going to be there on third down to make the plays, because this offense and team is built around playing great defense, running the ball on the first 2 downs, getting them into short yardage situations on third down, and someone making a play on third down and moving the chains. And with Marquise going down, they're going to have some guys step up on that wide receiver unit and make some plays on third downs.
Yeah, that's where it's at. I mean, because you get third and short, you can run the play action game. That's what Blake's really good at.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting outside of the pocket, making a play with his legs if no one's open. And what he really needs is guys to step up, the younger guys, and make some plays for him, get open, make him feel comfortable. That way he's got more options than just running the ball.
Let me ask you this. As a specialist, when it came to a game week, how did your preparation change? How did you get ready for a game? Did you watch much tape? I know you did the kickoff game. Do you watch some of that? Where do you start when you open the book on the New York Giants, let's say?
I mean, for me, it was always week one. Watching tape is completely different than any other player, obviously, because I'm not game planning for a defense or an offense, just like any other player is. I'm going to watch the opposing team's kickoff return unit, see what they do, see what their returner does, little things like that. But for the most part, I'm excited, and just like Lambeau's probably excited, because the points he scores now actually count. Mm-hmm. And the ones that he missed in the preseason, they didn't matter. So now everything counts, and that's the fun part about it, is that everything counts, and they're going to start off with this week with a tough opponent and roll from there.
Yeah, you said it though. Watching tape is not a huge thing for. I mean, just to see who's there, maybe what they do, kick away from a guy or something.
Punters watch more tape typically than a kicker. I mean, for field goals, even if you have a really good field goal block unit you're going against, you're not really concerned about it, because if a kicker does his job on the field goal, then you don't have to worry about the field goal block unit. But for the opposing team's kickoff return, if you're going against Devin Hester or someone like that, or a lot of guys that are in the league now, you might game plan for that, adjust accordingly. But for punters, it's different. You have to watch a little bit more tape, work on directional punting a little bit more, but at the same time, it's all about executing as a kicker or punter. That way the other team can't do what they need to do.
You said something that just kind of struck my ear there. I don't know why. If the kicker does his job, you don't have to worry about the field goal block unit.
Correct.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, if you get the ball off in time with a snap, hold, and kick under the time that you should, or around the time that you shouldn't have to worry about someone blocking a kick, even if they have someone that's 6'10"
and
going over the middle.
40 inches, right?
Yeah, if you had Calais Campbell on the other side, you would have to adjust for that guy, and it might be in the back of your mind to worry about him.
But as a kicker, you're kicking the ball. Like you kind of lean
well
on
said.
the on the
very
guys.
very well
you kind of lean on
as
the guys.
a kicker, you're just kicking the ball.
But you are, right? You don't have to worry about that guy because
Essentially,
you got to kick.
Yeah,
they got to block him.
Well, that's what I mean by it. If you do your job as a kicker, then you shouldn't worry about those
Right,
guys.
yeah.
If you kick it high enough, straight enough, and get the ball off in the adequate amount of time, then it shouldn't matter what the other team does.
Josh Scobee with us on this Jaguars Happy Hour on a Tuesday. Each and every Tuesday, the former Jags kicker is with us. How many times did you play the Giants your career? Do you remember?
Probably, I want to say 4 times. That's what I can remember. 3 I can remember without a doubt, maybe 4.
Your last time was when?
I think 2013, 14, 2014.
That was the Aaron Colvin fumble return game.
Correct. So that was at home.
Here. Yes.
And I kicked a, 42, 43-yard game winner.
Yes.
Right at the, last maybe
few
10
seconds,
last few seconds. I had to kick off to finish that game. But it was a fun game because obviously we didn't win too many games that year. And Coughlin was back here. He got a nice standing ovation. I know he didn't enjoy losing to the Jags, especially with how bad we were at that time, but it was fun. And the one thing I can remember about that kick was the new Jumbotrons were up, and I took my steps back and looked up to try and see exactly where I was going to aim.
Right.
And the sun happened to be coming directly in between the bottom of the Jumbotron and the top of the stands. So when I looked up, I literally couldn't see anything. I couldn't see where I was aiming. It just happened to be that time of day where the sun was going straight through there. So I basically kicked it blindfolded. I just picked a spot up where I was used to looking. I couldn't see the uprights at all. Luckily, it went in, and you could kind of see it in my reaction afterwards because Carson Tinker came up and picked me up afterwards, and we're celebrating, and I was almost more like mad or relieved than happy to make that kick because I literally couldn't see anything.
No idea where it went.
No idea where it went. I knew it went in because I heard the crowd,
Obviously.
but oh man, it was kind of one of those lucky breaks that I got.
We're going to hear a little bit today from Lawrence Tynes coming up, former Giants kicker. We'll get into his relationship with Tom Coughlin. Of course, he won 2 Super Bowls with Coughlin as the head coach in New York. John Oehser coming up a little bit later as well. He might have a little more on that, covering Tom back in the old days as the head coach here. When you look at the Giants, there's a lot of new in New York. New head coach, new GM. Eli Manning is back as the starting quarterback after getting benched last year towards the end of the season. You got a new running back. You've got a newly paid wide receiver. He's been around there, Odell Beckham. You got some new on the offensive line with Solder and Hernandez, the guard who was drafted this year. So a lot of questions in New York about what this offense is going to look like. They're hanging their hat on Eli, 15th season in the NFL, which is hard to believe, but he's been at it for a long, long time. They're trying to build things around Eli and see if they can get back to the glory they've had a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they didn't have a great season last year, but there are some people that are picking the Giants to win this week. People in this room were not, but they actually do have a pretty decent offense on paper, obviously with Odell Beckham Jr. And the new running back. I mean, it's going to be a challenge for this defense, even though we're happy with the guys that we have here. It's still going to be a challenge, and it's going to be fun to watch. The anticipated heavyweight battle of Odell Beckham Jr. and Jalen Ramsey. That's for sure.
If I were a betting man, I would of who would win the talking contest on the field. I know where my money would go. It would be the guy in our building here, but it can go both ways in this battle against each other on Sunday. And I think not just in the talking game, but in the actual football game too. Odell's going to get some. Jalen's going to get his. They're both going to go back and forth, and that's how this thing's going to play out. It usually is how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not going to be a game where one of them gets a huge play, the other one makes a huge play. It's going to be back and forth the whole time. There might be a couple passes thrown his way all game. That's just the way Jalen's going to play. Like you said, there's going to be some chatter that entire time, and I would actually pay good money to have that uncensored, mic'd up, both of them. And I think they should kind of do it like a UFC type of battle. They show up, they do, put their fists up and have someone behind them kind of
have the weigh in.
And do that and go from there. But it's going to be a fun one-on-one battle to watch. At the same time, it's going to be a really good game, in my opinion.
The Corona girls behind them and the whole weigh-in, all that.
Maybe keep their clothes on and they can weigh in with their shoulder pads and whatnot. But
right.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun matchup for sure. And same with Saquon Barkley and this Jaguar run defense. It's going to be fun to watch that.
Well, last year they brought in Marcel Darius. That helped the run game right away,
without
statistically.
a doubt. Yep.
And what's Marcel's situation with the pectoral? He's out there practicing, but it's been a nagging thing the last couple of weeks. It's a big question, I think. But the other question is really, what is Saquon Barkley's role going to be with the Giants? He's the starting running back. I get that. Can they use? They can use him out of the backfield in the passing game. What kind of running game will they use with him? We know what he can do and did at Penn State. Does that equate to the NFL? You just haven't seen a lot of it yet. You didn't see a lot of it in the preseason. You only ran the ball a handful of times. Now he ran 39 yards his first touch ever.
First touch.
So you have an idea of how explosive he can be. But you haven't seen it on film yet. I think that's the challenge for Todd Washington's defense, just kind of test the water here and maybe not throw the house at him right away because he might run by the house for a touchdown.
Yeah, I can see that kind of playing out with Coach Wash and his philosophy. I think he's going to kind of hang back and see what he does and see if Barkley's injury is kind of still bothering him a little bit. I know he's hampered by something.
A hamstring, right?
Yeah, not too bad, but they've kept him out the last couple of games just to be safe on it. But at the same time, they're going to be aggressive on defense, and whether it's run blitzes, stacking the box, whatever it is, they're going to be aggressive and not let Barkley beat them. They're going to rush the passer and do what they can to eliminate the big threats on their offense.
You ever watch Penn State the last couple of years?
I did, yes, absolutely. Yeah, he was
good.
If they had fantasy football in college football, he would have been most people's number one pick.
The offensive player of the year in the Big Ten the last 2 years, and really not even close. There's nobody else in the conference that was even close to what he could do.
He's fun to watch.
Really is.
Yeah.
Went number 2 overall.
Yeah.
Running backs don't go that high anymore. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
typically,
the last few they have.
Typically. And, they do backstories on him, interviews with him. He seems like a good kid, but hopefully that good kid gets shut down in about 5 days. So that's what we're hoping for.
That would be the hope around here for sure. So there you have it. We're off and running. Jaguars Happy Hour. We're going to come back. Lawrence Tynes, former New York Giants kicker. He was also with the Bucks for a minute. The Chiefs early in his career. We'll hear from him coming up. John Ozier right around the corner as well. The Jaguars.com senior writer will break down this matchup. And Social Scobee. Josh Scobee will answer your social media questions. Get them in at Josh Scobee 10.
That's it.
I'm at JP Shadrick.
What's your number?
I don't have a
You have a number? Was it 00 in dodgeball?
No.
Kickball?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was.
Softball.
Saw all that, all of the above. We're off and running. Hey, by the way, tonight, Jaguars All Access Television, CBS 47, the channel, 7 o'clock the start time. Brent Martineau, Jeff Lageman, Calais Campbell are your hosts, and guest, Keelan Cole.
That'd be a good one.
Wide receiver, second-year wide receiver. He'll be at Mellow Mushroom tonight in Avondale, so get there early. I know people sometimes go there for lunch and stay until the show.
Really?
To get a table.
Wow.
It gets packed in there, so check it out tonight at 7 on CBS 47. Lawrence Tynes when we come back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. I've been doing this for 20 years, but success doesn't happen in a vacuum. Thank you for helping me move this thing along. You helped me get this thing going in the early days by telling 20 of your closest friends about Tito's. They told 20 more, and it kept growing from there. We wouldn't be where we are today without your support. Thank you very much. Go to Tito'sVodka.com and pick up some Tito's gear. All proceeds benefit our charity partners. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
When this is the sound of a waterfall in nature, there's no cause for concern. But when it's the sound of water gushing through your living room ceiling because a pipe bursts inside the wall, there's reason to panic, unless you pick up the phone. and call 1-800-SERVPRO. Only the cleanup and restoration specialists at ServPro can help make fire and water damage like it never even happened. So make the call to 1-800-SERVPRO at the first sign of water damage. Franchises are independently owned and operated.
Jaguars Happy Hour on this Tuesday continues. JP Shadrick, former Jags kicker Josh Scobee in studio. The Jaguars and the New York Football Giants coming up Sunday at MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. We love kickers on this show. Well, I guess I do. By default, I have to.
Nice of you.
We're doing this show together. Kickers. So in that case, let's get another kicker on the show. Former Chiefs, Giants, Buccaneers kicker Lawrence Tynes joins us over the phone. Hey, man, what's up?
Hey, guys.
Thanks
for having me.
Thanks for coming on today. First off, on Giants Jaguars week. How close do you follow the Giants still?
I'm pretty fanatical. I keep up with pretty much everything.
Yeah. He's quite
about
the
as close as any
trash
other
talker.
fan would.
Yeah. LT, obviously.
LT? Wait a minute. There's another LT with the Giants.
He might be the original LT, actually.
Really?
But
got a really funny story about that. If you want to hear it.
Yeah, let's hear it. What do you got?
So 2007, I get traded to the Giants from Kansas City, and I fly in. The first thing I go to is the Giants golf tournament, and so I meet Jerry Reese for the first time and Harry Carson, who obviously played next to LT. And Jerry Reese introduces me, and Harry Carson says, "Well, what's your name, son?" And I said, "Lawrence Tynes, but I go by LT." And he said, "No, you don't." And I said, from that point on, I knew where I was. But fast forward 6 months later, Harry followed the team pretty closely, and I made that kick in Green Bay. That was my first year in New York. And he was in the locker room, and he said, "I'll call you LT now." So that's a pretty cool story.
You win the NFC, I guess that'll work. Yeah.
You had to earn your stripes there.
You have to earn that moniker up there.
Yeah, well, LT, obviously, I've known you a long time, and I know your passion for the Giants and the organization. You obviously won 2 Super Bowls with them, but you had a great deal to actually help the team get to those Super Bowls, didn't you?
Yeah, I was just fortunate enough to be put in, the situation twice. One through my own doing in the first one in 2008 against the Packers. I had made 2. I missed 2. Fortunately, Corey Webster made a great play in overtime, picked off Brett Favre, got us into position, made the kick, and then 4 years later in San Francisco, it was another overtime situation, special teams play. One of our gunners knocked the ball loose from the returner. We get the ball down there pretty close, and we made the kick again. So really just right place, right time. It's kind of hard to fathom. You never think about ever having more than one of those, and I have 2, so pretty thankful.
Yeah, that's pretty special. Now, I've heard this story from what I remember over the years with the first kick in the NFC Championship in Green Bay.
That was the cold game, right?
Like the minus 90 degree.
Yeah, like Tom Coughlin's face almost fell off.
It looked like he was going to die that game. Right. But apparently you ran out on the field without getting the signal to kick the field goal, or how did that work?
Right. So I had made 2 early, missed 2 late. And so I had missed one from about 42, 43, I can't remember, going in the same direction. But as you know, you can hit balls really well and miss. That's just the nature of the position. And so I hit it really well, so I knew distance-wise I could get it there. So this kick that I ended up making was from 47 yards. Well, I had missed my last 2, and we get a third down play. It's incomplete. I just ran onto the field. I kind of figured it was 45, 46. It ended up being 47. And I get out there, and nobody's on the field. Like, Fiegels is not out there. Everyone's scrambling. Coach Coughlin's kind of looking. He's looking around. I see him talking to Jeff. I don't think internally as the story has grown, I heard, it was basically every coach on the headset saying, "Don't kick it, don't kick it, don't kick it." And then I gave Coughlin some positive vibes, I guess, for being out there and taking the onus. Part of that was because I didn't want to go home and having lost that game and be thrown into the Hudson with cement shoes on. So I get out there, and then, the rest is history. We made the kick. But, yeah, it was just one of those deals. I mean, you've been there.
No,
the coach asks you, can you make it?
Wait a minute, you
never
haven't
been to the AFC Championship and had that game winning kick.
Any kind of game winner where, you know what, the adrenaline's pumping. I knew I could get it there. Sometimes we always tell our coach we can kick it further than we can, but, it was just one of those deals where I felt really good about it. I mean, even though I had missed, I didn't hit it really bad. I mean, I just missed it a little bit left. So just started this one a little bit further to the right, and it went in.
Lawrence Tynes with us, former New York Giants kicker. The Jags and the Giants coming up this Sunday. Do you remember your first interaction with Tom Coughlin?
I do. So I was traded, as we talked about earlier. So I get there kind of during like OTAs, right after the draft, and he kind of sat me down, talked to me, said, "Look, we're bringing you here to compete. We're not giving you the job. You're the veteran. We got a young guy." But one of the things that really sticks out is when I got traded, my wife was really, really sick. We have, thank God, 2 healthy boys that are 11 now, but during her pregnancy, she was really, really ill. So she was in the hospital for like the last 60 to 90 days of her pregnancy. And I literally stayed by her side for every night. So I slept in this little corner of the hospital room for almost 3 months trying to train and get to camp when camp started. But, the first batch of flowers and balloons and stuff that we got when the boys were born were from Tom Coughlin. And from that point on, I just knew what kind of a person he was, and that spoke volumes.
Yeah, and, he's got that gruff exterior and can be a little snippy if he doesn't have things perfect like he wants. That's him. But he's got that soft side, too. And we see it in the J Fund all the time and everything he does in the community. But, boy, everybody that's kind of around him has a story that's similar to that.
Everybody loves him, and they know he's a family man when it all comes down to it, obviously, with the J Fund and what he does for kids and cancer research and whatnot. So that's not a surprising story, but at the same time, when it comes to, kickers, it kind of is surprising.
Yeah, he's been fantastic, and, I still text with him. He actually, my wife just threw me a surprise 40th birthday back in May, and
wait,
she
you're
did
40
this
already?
Video montage.
You're already 40?
And during the draft is, I guess, when she reached out to Tom. Tom did, a 30-second clip from his office wishing me happy birthday on the montage, amongst other NFL players and people and friends and family. So if that doesn't tell you, what our relationship is like, I mean, it's for him to take the time out during the draft and do that just says a lot about him.
That's great.
You, what did you think when the Giants benched Eli last year?
It was the dumbest decision ever. I mean, it just didn't make any sense. I mean, Eli was willing to I guess at least as I read stories, play the first half and then kind of see if they're still in it, if they're not, and then it would have made more sense if Davis Webb played, the guy who they just released, who they drafted in the 3rd round. But it would have made more sense if he played over Geno. But that really kind of angered me a little bit because that streak is important to Eli, and I know it's an individual, personal streak, which the Mannings are not real big on individual things, but I think it speaks volumes to him being available and being ready to play every Sunday. And sometimes he shouldn't have played, but he has. But I kind of hate that it ended the way it did.
It's the second longest in league history. I mean, that doesn't come around.
And
often.
It should have an asterisk, but of course it won't. But I just hated how that all went down.
Yeah, it got the head coach, was it McAdoo, got him fired, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
See ya.
that was a dumb move on their part, obviously. And, I mean, you don't take out a 2-time Super Bowl winner at any point in their career, even if they're struggling. I think it was just a power trip on McAdoo's part.
It was a little bit. And Eli's one of the most competitive guys I've ever been around. And it wasn't about the wins and losses for him. He just likes to be there for his teammates, and whether they're 1-15 or 15-1, he wants to be out there. and play football. That's what they pay him $20 million a year to do. So you're right. The whole thing just didn't make any sense.
Lawrence Tynes with us, former Giants kicker. A couple more minutes here with you, Lawrence. Jalen Ramsey, Odell Beckham. Who you got?
I'm taking 13. He's fresh. He's hungry. And listen, Jalen's an unbelievable player. Somebody mentioned it on TV the other day. They should just have a box on those two players for 3 hours on Sunday and make it a pay-per-view. Don't show the offense. Don't show anything else. Just show those two running around, pushing each other, whatever they're going to do. I hope it's clean and fun and doesn't get out of hand. But, two of the best players in the game. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, the only thing I worry about with Odell is his pockets are going to be a little heavy. How's he going to run around with, $90 million in his pockets? That's going to be tough because knowing him, he might have it on him, actually. He might have it in cash.
He might have a few. Yeah, he might bring some cash out there. But I can't wait to see it. I hope they give it the credit it deserves. That's a marquee matchup, especially in week 1.
Oh, it's going to be fun to watch. Well, Lawrence, we appreciate you coming on, buddy, and good luck with everything you're doing. And hopefully our guy 20 gets the championship belt over number 13.
Yeah, they'll probably be one of those. So I appreciate you guys having me, and have an awesome season.
All right, buddy.
There
Take care.
Lawrence Tynes, former Giants kicker, on this kicker show today on Jaguars Happy Hour. Our next guest, who after this timeout might have kicked some in his career too. I don't know. It might have been a while. Jaguars.com senior writer John Oehser right around the corner. When we return a little later, Social Scobee will answer the social media questions. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hi, I'm Tito Beveridge, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat, even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
At ViStar, we believe in better, especially in helping build a better financial future for our members. So we've reviewed our offerings from the ground up. We've lowered or eliminated over half our fees and enhanced our already competitive rates, saving members more than $1 million this year, in addition to the millions we save them every year. If you believe that saving money is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
It's a 43-yarder. It is right in front of the uprights. There is no angle. 43-yarder, here we go with 32 seconds to play. It's out of a hold of Brian Anger. The Jags looking for their second win of the year. From 43 yards away. The snap is good, it is down. Josh gets it up. It is good! Josh Scobee right between the uprights, and the Jaguars with 28 seconds to play have taken a 1-point lead over the New York Giants.
There you have it. Josh Scobee for the win over the New York Giants.
I think it was my last game-winning field goal of my career.
That was the one, huh?
Yeah, we didn't win very many other games
No,
after
yeah,
that.
that was it. That was it. Welcome back. Jaguars Happy Hour on this Tuesday. JP Shadrick, Josh Scobee, John Oehser.
Am I reading this right that you just did a segment with two kickers?
Oh, that's true.
What, could Tank not get the long snapper along?
We got a long season ahead, though. He might
could Jimmy Luck not get the equipment guy?
Bye week.
Where are we at?
We got kickers.
We'll get Tinker on the bye week.
Yeah, Tinker. The
Tinker's going to get the guy's long snapper next week. We'll really go.
What's wrong with that?
We'll really go big.
We're going to talk to an ex-Patriots punter next week probably or something.
That's actually
you got somebody?
punter,
Okay.
ex-Patriots punter too. Yeah,
Who
we
you
can
got?
do that. Chris Hansen, he played here and there.
Wow.
That's right.
All right. We'll
I know,
see if he's
I know all
available.
the people. I have a lot of connections.
You've
You
been
got
around.
a Rolodex full of
with kickers
kickers.
and punters.
Fantastic.
A
A lot of connections.
specialists.
Yeah.
Tough to get that.
To get on this show.
That's so sad. So sad. Now that I think about it, it's so sad. I try to have a good Rolodex of celebrities, but it's only kickers, punters, and snappers, really.
You can probably get Blake. You guys were tight.
If he'd answered my calls, yeah.
Or did he change his number?
I think he changed his number.
Specifically for that.
No, luckily he still answers my texts, so I feel good.
Well, so is Josh fired up? Is Josh fired up for the first game?
I think so.
I'm pumped. I won't be there for it. I'll be in Louisiana, but I'll be watching it. Yeah.
I mean, do you watch as a fan? Do you get into it? Do you throw stuff, or is it an emotional time for you when they're playing? Or
with the Jags, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, even the year that I got traded and wasn't with a team the rest of that year, and then the following year before I decided to retire, I mean, I was still all in Jaguar fan, rooting every single day, getting mad about certain things. And
now, is that because you knew a lot of guys and relationship, or
all of the above?
Or the team? Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
It was, obviously still had a lot of former teammates that I, respected and loved, and
some that you didn't.
Some that I didn't. Sure. Some I was okay with when they lost. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, it had more to do with just the team. I mean, my love for the team will never go away. So, I mean, I live and die with the Sundays now as a former player. It's almost more nerve-wracking as a former player watching the games. My heart beats faster watching the games now than it did actually playing them.
So
because you know what they're going through.
Yeah,
you know what he's lining up, and you know what he's thinking.
Well, it's that, and that I have zero control over anything, and watching the kickers kick, punters go through what they do. It's just I have zero control over it now, so I'm almost more nervous.
So when you were lining up for the game-winning, there weren't nerves?
Oh, I mean, there's nerves,
the best way to describe it, or?
You can control a lot of that stuff, but now I can't. So it's just a strange feeling to try and describe. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of guys that could agree with me that used to play, but I mean, I live and die with it every Sunday.
Cool.
John, what's this offense have up its sleeve this week in New York? This Jaguars offense.
I'm not sure it's a big up the sleeve game. I talked to the Giants, my Giants counterpart, so I sort of did what you did.
A couple of senior writers going on. What an article
that
is.
Boy, when we get together.
Who would be the better athletes in this group, the senior writers or the kickers?
It's open for debate.
Okay.
Except on the golf course. They believe that they're a really good defensive interior, meaning they believe they can stop the run, the Giants. Sometimes you would think, well, the opposing offense would go away from that, but I don't see the Jaguars in this game going away from trying to run the ball up the middle. I think they want to establish that. They feel like they should be good at that. I think they thought they showed that in the last preseason game. So I'm not sure it's as much of an up-the-sleeves game as, hey, we're going to run it up the gut, and we're going to show what we believe we are. No time like the present for establishing that. We believe we're going to stop you on defense. So if it takes us a couple of series to get it going, not just to establish the tone for the game, but for the season of, we got Andrew Norwell for a reason. We think A.J. Cann's better. Brandon Linder's our guy. Fournette's our guy. And we're going to run on you. So I don't think you're going to see a lot of trickery.
I like that, though. That's what this team's all about. Run the ball,
once that's
baby.
Established, then obviously what this team does is once that gets going, then you can RPO. Then you can
play off.
But and I say they won't do those other things early, but I don't think there's any way in the world they don't come out and try to establish the fact that, okay, we were the number one running offense in the league, but weren't great at the end of last season. This is who we are, and we can be this anywhere, including at MetLife Stadium on Sunday.
I think you saw when Norwell came into the lineup finally in the preseason, that difference. When he was in on the offensive line in those games, that game, they had push. They had things they didn't have the first couple of weeks in the first team offense. So that makes a big difference when you pay that kind of money for a guy. You know what you're getting. You haven't seen it, but he's out there. Boy, you saw it pretty clear, I think, in the preseason, Josh.
Yeah, and I think it's going to take a little bit of time, like you said, maybe a series or two before they get completely comfortable, because that starting five hasn't played a whole lot together for the past 4 weeks. But once they get rolling, they know that that's what they want to do. That's their strength of their game. So they're going to go best on best and say, this is what we do best. We're going to take on what you do best, and we'll see what happens from there.
I'm fascinated to see how – I think we caught a glimpse of it in the preseason, what Nate and Doug want this offense to be, especially against Atlanta, where you saw them using Corey Grant and the two backs on the field at the same time. I don't think it's going to be their entire offense, but I think if it works, you're going to see a heavy dose of it. And you just can't shake the feeling that they haven't shown everything they want to do in the preseason. And this is Nate's second year with these guys. It's Blake's second year under Nate. I think it's going to be a RPO to go football 101 heavy offense this year. But they did such a nice job against Atlanta of straining the edges of the defense, of trying to get Fournette and Grant and these guys on linebackers in one-on-one situations where, if you get Fournette on the outside, not Gene Fournette, Josh, but if you get him on the outside, it's tough too.
Yeah.
But if you get Leonard Fournette on the outside against a linebacker or DB, he's either going to run over you or run by you. He's got those two options, and not every back can do that. But that's an intimidating sight when you get him out there, and I think that's going to be a big part of what they try to do.
I don't know how you bring Gene down either.
Well, you got a game plan for him. If you don't defend him, you're going to lose.
You just don't give him an option to hit delete on his Twitter because he doesn't know how to spell most words right.
No, it's
he's not going to spell check. But I kind of got the feeling in the preseason that we didn't see all the options that Corey Grant is going to bring to the table. It just felt like he wasn't utilized, and maybe they're trying to hold that back, which I kind of like because I think he's kind of the hidden gem in this offense when, certain things that he can do that the other two guys might not be as good at, that when it's third down or even, second down, that they bring him in and they have that availability for him.
Well, it's funny. There was a debate in the ozone. That's a thing that I write, Josh, the ozone. Who was faster, Corey Grant or Leonard Fournette? And people are amazed to think there's somebody faster on the team than Leonard Fournette. And Corey, again, going back to high school, a fifth of a second or whatever it was faster. But I think what Grant gives you is, I don't think he's going to give you 15 carries a game, but he's gotten to the point, I think, especially with what he did show in the preseason. I keep going back to the point that I do think defenses are going to have to game plan for him when he's in the game. And that's an unusual thing for a guy who only plays, maybe 7 or 8 offensive snaps, but can be so effective within that if you're a coordinator and you're watching film, Josh, and you see Corey Grant go for 30 yards every time he touches the ball with that kind of speed, and you're thinking, if I don't have two guys over defending him and a way to back that up, this kid can score on every play. So I think it is to a point where coordinators have to game plan for him, thereby setting up. You can actually use him as a decoy, as play action, whereas most of the time when you have a guy coming in for just a few plays, it's an afterthought. You're going to scheme to him, but he's not going to be a huge part of what the other team has to do during the week.
John Oehser with us, Jaguars.
I think Josh had a point.
Easy for me to say.
Yeah, you actually said what I was thinking.
Okay, never mind then.
Him coming in on third down and
right.
Certain defenses out there, and it'll open up RPOs and more opportunities for Blake to go play action, fake it to him, and have one-on-one downfield. And I think that's why he's going to be a huge addition for the offense.
Their running back core, especially against Atlanta, but you saw it all through the preseason, JP, with TJ Yeldon. You all right over there, JP?
Yeah, I'm breathing air. Yeah, I'm good.
A little struggling.
It's okay.
But, I think that's one thing that when the season ended last year, if you had said, what are the team's strengths of the Jaguars going to be? I think you would have said Fournette and maybe a little Corey Grant mixed in. But I think what we saw in training camp and we saw in the preseason, it really makes you think that it's not just going to be Fournette and the others. It's going to be, this is a three-headed running back that I think Fournette's going to be the star. I think he can have a 1,300-yard season. But I remember when we were talking to TJ Yeldon toward the end of training camp, and he doesn't talk to the media that much, but he talked for a few minutes. And when you asked him about his role, he kind of hesitated. He said, well, we'll see what my role is going to be. And it wasn't being snide. It wasn't being negative. It was more, I just got the impression there's something there that we haven't seen, and that he's going to be a lot more than just a guy they give the ball when they're trying to give Fournette a break.
The other matchup to watch, this Jaguars defense is ready to destroy people, I think, this year. Just talking to these guys. They know what they are. They know what they want to be. And it's a premier matchup this week. The playmakers or possible playmakers for the Giants, not just Odell Beckham, but Barkley, and you got Eli back in there now, 15th year. They got a revamped offensive line. I think that's going to be the battle. The Jags defense against the playmakers for the Giants, and can Eli? They put their hat on him. Like he's the guy still. He's going to be the guy. They've built everything around Eli. He's got to go perform in year number 15 now against this defense week 1.
I think the fascinating matchup here is I think Barkley's a kid who is so good and so talented that he's probably going to have a play in each half where he breaks it. I think that's okay for the Jaguars because the speed at linebacker, the speed on that defense, I don't think him breaking it means he's going to score. But he might change the field a couple of times. Can the speed of Telvin Smith and Miles Jack, which is extraordinary and has that way of turning what looks like a 7-yard play, all of a sudden Miles is chasing a guy down and it's 2nd and 8 instead of 2nd and 3. How many times have they done that where you're like, wow, this is not as bad a down and distance as it looked when that play started? If they can do that against Barkley and force the Giants, instead of facing 2nd and 5 a lot, if they're facing 2nd and 9 after Barkley runs, then all of a sudden the defense tees off. You get that swarm effect where the Jaguars defense is going after you. I think that's really the key. I think Jack and Smith's speed counteracting Barkley's, I think is going to give the Jaguars defense a chance to be what it can be.
Fun. And then kicker speed. You know, that's important on special teams too, right? No?
Zero to do with that.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was never asked to run a 40.
Have you commented on the Logan Cook hit yet?
We've got a question coming up.
Okay,
Social Scobee.
I didn't mean to jump the gun.
Social
Right.
Scobee.
Yeah.
Well, you got to stick
I don't
around.
remember that out of you necessarily. I think you were too smart.
Well, the guy's
I never called you that before.
6'5". How big is he? I mean,
He is a
that's
big kid.
monster
Yeah.
punter. Yeah. It was impressive. I loved it. He's not going to love the FedEx package he gets in the mail from that league, but
Yeah, I wonder how significant that might be. I think he may have gone shoulder enough where it's not a
Clean.
bad.
Well,
they called it a head one, right?
Yeah, but I don't know that was the right call.
Was.
We'll see.
unfortunate part about the NFL is
They're going to find you anyway.
fine you first, and then you appeal it, and then it goes
Okay.
from there. So
What's your experience with that? When were you fine? Like,
just once for a face mask that, you know.
You just
I
went
had
after
to-
the guy?
I had to find something to grab onto. So
okay, all right.
the face mask was the logical thing.
Maybe you just went rogue. You're just going after it.
No, I had some good tackles, but not like that one.
No.
That was impressive.
What do you got
We'll
coming
talk
up?
about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when we come
next
back.
segment.
Yeah, what do you got coming up, John?
I have got tomorrow, the story talking to the opposing writer, which I always enjoy, even if nobody else does. But later in the week, Jalen Ramsey talks on Thursday, and I get the feeling no matter what I write or say, that's going to be the focal point of the week. So I think we're all looking forward to it.
Good stuff.
Around 2:30, I think he talks live, and it'll be
live on pay-per-view, I'm sure.
must-see viewing. I'll
This
watch.
kid.
I'll click on that.
Yeah, I think I'll watch it back a few times. In fact,
no doubt.
John, good stuff. Thanks.
All right, buddy.
Yep.
Josh.
John Oehser, Jaguars.com senior writer, our good buddy here on Jaguars Happy Hour. Social Scobee. When we return, join Brian Sexton, Ashlyn Sullivan, and sometimes John, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, most weeks, but not this week because it's different. It'll be Thursday and Friday, not Wednesday. You know,
The drive time will be tomorrow. I just won't be on.
That's what I'm
We'll
saying.
have drive time tomorrow.
I don't know how they do it without you, to be quite frank.
I don't either.
It's at 8:30 in the morning if you want to check
Yeah.
it out. Jaguars drive time.
Don't ask me to do that. That one's too early for me.
Too early for you.
Yeah, I
You're already on like the third hole by then.
We weren't going to ask.
Typically.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So you just-
Good.
That's 8:30 every morning. Jaguars drive time. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. I've been doing this for 20 years, but success doesn't happen in a vacuum. Thank you for helping me move this thing along. You helped me get this thing going in the early days by telling 20 of your closest friends about Tito's. They told 20 more, and it kept growing from there. We wouldn't be where we are today without your support. Thank you very much. Go to Tito'sVodka.com and pick up some Tito's gear. All proceeds benefit our charity partners. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Jags fans, experience TIAA Bank Field like never before. Visit Jaguars.com/tours and book a guided behind-the-scenes tour presented by Fuel Up to Play 60. Hear stories of great plays by Jaguars legends. Get up close and personal with the famous video boards. And see why the Travel Channel named TIAA Bank Field as one of the 15 bucket list destinations for any football fan. Discounts available for children, first responders, and military. Visit Jaguars.com/tours for tickets and details. See you at the bank.
Jaguars Happy Hour continues. JP Shadrick, Josh Scobee, coming up at Daly's Place. Busy schedule ahead of the Patriots game. It's a week of concerts. Look at this: Deep Purple, Judas Priest, Dierks Bentley's the next night, Sting and Shaggy on the 14th. That's leading into the Patriots game weekend. Get your tickets at dailysplace.com. Downtown will be rocking all week, literally and figuratively.
Huh. Sting and Shaggy's what I'm really looking for. I just can't wait for them.
I know. I mean, you've been talking this up for a couple weeks.
Very excited. Shaggy and I might hang out,
Oh, really?
Yeah, no. We probably won't.
I know y'all go way back like you and LT, right?
How old is Sting now?
Sting has got to be in his 60s, right?
Maybe 70.
Well, I don't know if he's that old. Because the Police was around in the 80s. Early 80s was like when they got it big.
Do you think they, like, Sting and Shaggy hang out? Like when they travel around, tour these places, like they go to a bar?
Go eat dinner at Applebee's or something?
You would think. I mean, if they tour around together, you would think that they hang out together.
Well, I mean, they got to like each other because they're around each other all the time. You can't do a tour with somebody that you really
do you think Sting is talking to Shaggy one night? He's like, I really liked your work, and it wasn't me. It was a great song. Great song.
You sound just like him.
Well, I'm just saying. How did that one come together? I like both individually, but together it's kind of like, huh.
I wonder, how did they meet?
See.
How did they collaborate? How did the collaboration begin?
Figure this one out, how we could tour together.
It's like when, like when did Benson and Hedges get together to make cigarettes? Right? Amazing. I'd be curious to know.
Yeah, like Bausch and Lomb.
Them too.
Johnson and Johnson.
Are they related though?
I think it's the same person, actually. Just Johnson squared.
Interesting. Joe Fortunato.
Any guesses on Sting's age?
I bet he's 62.
71.
67.
Oh, we're right in the middle of it.
All right. I overbid, though. You win.
Well, how old is Shaggy? I bet he's probably 47.
I was going to say 53.
Okay. Shaggy. Because he was around in the 90s.
Yeah. It wasn't him, though. What was his other song that he was like really...
49.
Mr. Boombastic, wasn't that the one?
Boombastic.
Yeah, that was that one, right? How old is he?
49.
I was close. 49.
Not bad.
You were at 51.
I said 53.
53. All right. Yeah. I'll take the win on that one.
53.
Tomorrow is Tom Coughlin J Fund Day in Jacksonville, by the way. There'll be an announcement at City Hall in the morning. Mayor Lenny Curry, Kelly Coughlin, Joyce from the foundation will be there. And it's a day-long event. Businesses throughout Jacksonville will donate some of their proceeds to the J Fund tomorrow, so look for some of the coverage of that coming up. So always good to see the J Fund out and about in the community. Obviously, they've been around for, 22 years now since Coach Coughlin was here earlier.
They've done a lot of great things for this community, obviously, and I've been a part of many of those events, and they put on fantastic events and raise a lot of money for what they're doing. And Kelly, his daughter, I mean, she runs that thing, and she does an amazing job.
Class act.
Awesome people.
And I think I saw you at the wine gala this year.
Yeah,
right?
that is my favorite event.
That's the one
of the
downtown in March.
Yes, fantastic event. If you've never been, make sure you go next year. Fantastic food, wine, everything. And you get to meet, I mean, there's a bunch of Jaguar players, coaches.
You get to meet Josh Scobee.
You could, but I charge, it's like $5 an autograph, so.
$5.
$6 for a picture. But I have PayPal and Venmo, so
we can Venmo that over.
Yeah.
Huh? Okay. We'll get the Venmo out there next week to make sure you get.
Thank you.
Let's get social Scobee going here. How about it?
Let's do it.
We're gonna start off one, and I want you to keep it clean here, Josh. Did you ever kick one of Blake's balls, or did Blake ever play with one of yours? PSI matters. What's your PSI? I don't know if PSI changes on regular offensive footballs to kicking footballs. I know the texture is different. Are we right on this?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I I don't know where he was going with this question.
Well, I told you.
But yes, so the difference between the kicking balls, we call them the K balls, and the quarterback balls, the quarterbacks get to use and break the balls in throughout the week. So they use them in practice. They pick out a few, I'm not sure exactly how many it is, that they take to the game. Referees inspect them. If they like them, they put them in the game. The difference between the ones that we use and the quarterbacks use, these balls get shipped to the hotel that the refs are staying at. The refs bring them to the game. They actually come out exactly like this. They inflate them to 11 to 13 PSI, I believe.
In the window.
Yes. I
Really?
mean, looks like absolute crap. If we tried to kick this ball right here when it came out of the box, it would probably go 10 yards shorter than a normal ball would. We get 45 minutes, or I should say the ball boys for each team get 45 minutes to break in 3 balls each, and then they go in numbered 1 through 6, and we start out with number 1. If you like it, you keep it in the game. The more it gets kicked, the more it gets broken in. But no, I've never kicked a quarterback ball, and Blake's never thrown a K ball. That doesn't happen.
But it could in theory if they get it mixed up in the
it
process
rarely
of
ever
changing
does.
the ball out.
The only time I've seen that happen, the refs will actually call a timeout and get the other ball in because they understand that
Because the center, whoever's snapping it, would know the difference.
Yeah,
too.
the centers are even more neurotic about that because the grip is different and they know there's a huge difference.
That's interesting.
It's really not, but
well, no, I mean,
but it makes a huge difference in our job. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean the little technical aspect of that's a big deal.
Little things like that.
Yeah. Let's go to another. Yes, Joe. Yes.
Just that brought up something. Just say, perchance, you happen to kick 6 balls into the stands.
Yep.
What would you do?
Luckily,
they don't have to give them back, right? If one goes into the stands,
they don't have to, but they typically do. So what I would always do whenever that happened at home, if I kicked one over a net or on a kickoff, kicked it into the stands, I would go get one of our older footballs that was in the bag and give it to the ball boy and have him trade it out. Or even sometimes I would sign it and the ball boy would give it to that fan. And when that would happen, normally I'd look over and the fans are clapping or something like that. So you would rarely ever lose more than 2. That's for sure.
It's like a baseball game. A guy loses a bat in the stands or something, but he wants to keep it as the gamer he's using. He just gives like the BP batters.
Yeah, you're not going to find too many fans that are going to be that guy and keep it. That's for sure.
Hey, let's go another social media question on Twitter today from Edward Dollahan. Here we go. Here it is. How do you feel about the Cook hit on kick coverage? What do you see in his future as a punter and kickoff specialist? He did kick off at Miss State. How does he compare to Lambeau on kickoffs?
Well, first part to that question, I mean, obviously the hit was really, really impressive. He got flagged for it, which I don't understand how you get flagged for a perfect hit. Hopefully he doesn't get fined for it. He probably will. And second part to that, I think he's going to be a really good punter, an asset for this team. Kickoff specialist, he's got a really powerful leg. But I always like to see the kickers doing that job. And I think the difference between he and Lambeau is that Cook just has, maybe a little bit more strength. But it's, like I said, it's just good to have the kicker doing that job, doing both of those, and not worry about the punter doing one of those.
Right, well, because you have the kicker probably has a little better feel of where it's going in that motion.
Yeah, it's a completely different motion, kicking and punting. So I think you let a punter do one job, kicker do both.
All right. Our final tweet today comes from Josh Scobee himself. On the golf course today, come on, a near ace on 17 at TPC Sawgrass at the stadium. There's a ball mark like an inch or two from the hole, and then you're within 2 feet.
Yeah.
Oh, what did you hit? What did you use? Let's hear it.
It was 147 yards. I hit just a little 9-iron, and it looked good the entire way. I thought it was going to go in right when it hit. So it hit right past the flag and checked up and spun back to right there, probably about 1.5 feet, 2 feet away.
Is that the Thursday placement? Or
I think,
that the that's not the Sunday placement.
Thursday or Friday. It was kind of top left shelf. But
Wow.
it was a fun day.
Well done.
Thank you.
Hey, good show, man.
Yeah, fun
Giants coming up this week. real football.
I'm excited. Preseason's over. The real stuff is here.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, buddy.
Josh Scobee, former Jaguars kicker, joins us each and every Tuesday. Our thanks to our entire crew. Lawrence Tynes as well. LT, the other LT.
The other LT,
in New York for the Giants. I'm JP Shadrick. We'll see you next time. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.